Does all the that's what I experienced at the
Order, and I'll ask Trustee Miller to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right, folks, we got a heavy agenda tonight, so I'd like to take some public comment first and get that out of the way so we can get to the meat of our meeting. Is there anyone that has anything they'd like to bring to the attention of the board?
Yes, if I may.
Ed?
Hi. I'm Edward Pontecoloni, 54 Travis Trail, Lake George. For those who don't know me, I'm an advocate for the lake, for the village, for the town. Matter of fact, I was fortunate back in 2016, Mayor Blaze recognized my advocacy on behalf of the lake and the village and the town by honoring me with the Village Mayor Award. It's a rare honor. 50 years he was mayor. I don't think there were very many of those awards given out. It was in recognition, like I said, of my advocacy on behalf of the lake. I spearheaded advocacy for the mandatory vote inspection program to combat invasive species, and my advocacy for the village. Those of you who know, I participated with the mayor in drafting an ordinance to try to deal with the Dilligas stores and the obscenities in his windows. I realize he's coming back. It's kind of questionable how you're going to handle it, but it's in place. In any event, why I'm here tonight. Last summer, some residents in the village filed a petition for dissolution. The mayor came to me and he asked me to write an editorial in opposition. And many of you know I have editorials regularly in the Lake George Mirror. And we talked about it. We talked about the fact that the village and the town have been discussing consolidation for a number of years now, having gotten beyond step number one. As a matter of fact, that was why the petition for dissolution was filed in the first place. We talked about the fact that consolidation is probably in the best interests of the residents of the village and the town. And consolidation, not dissolution, was important. Because consolidation enables the consolidation committee to establish the economy and the governance of the new community. Whereas in a dissolution, the state statutes will regulate those things. So I prepared that editorial. It was published in both the Chronicle and in the Mirror. And the petition for dissolution was rejected. And the very next day, the Post-Star published its report about the rejection of the dissolution, and it said, and I want to quote, so give me a moment. It said, Village Mayor Robert Blaze and Town Supervisor Dennis Dickinson have both spoken out in favor of a consolidation of the two entities rather than a dissolution. Quote, the governments will now immediately file a petition for consolidation. That's the Post-Star on September 13th, 2022. Now, the village board passed a resolution to study consolidation in connection with its response to this petition for dissolution. And they made it contingent upon the town of Lake George also agreeing to study the question of consolidation. So as soon as the petition for dissolution was rejected, I went and appeared before the town council, Lake George. And I urged upon them that they also agree to study the issue of consolidation. And despite some opposition from some of the board members, particularly Dan Hurley, who didn't understand the law, they passed a resolution agreeing to study the question of consolidation with the village. That was back in October. It's been 6 months now. And no action has been taken to authorize the study of the question of consolidation of the village and the town. That's an important issue. It's an important issue for the future of our communities. It's an important issue for the residents of both communities because it will enlarge the voice of the residential communities. in the governance of this area, this community. So I'm here tonight with the question, why are we not moving forward with the study of consolidation? And I would point out to you that time pretty much is of the essence, because right now we have the work that's been done by Lafarge in connection with the dissolution petition. And they could build on that much more easily and much more economically than they could if they have to start all over again. So the more you delay, the more costly the study is going to be. But the point that I want to make is that this board resolved to do it. The town board resolved to do it. And so I'm just asking, what's your explanation for not doing it?
I've
Is
been
there a
mayor
good
for
one?
2 weeks.
Pardon me?
I've been mayor for 2 weeks, sir.
I understand. I understand.
We're in the midst of a couple of studies. We had discussed as a village board, well, 3 of us anyway, we're gonna take one study at a time. I did speak with Dan Baruch today in regards to, whether or not we're gonna go into the consolidation study. I said I would address it with my board and see how they felt. I've been mayor for 2 weeks.
I understand, Mr. Perry, I understand, and I appreciate everything that you're doing on behalf of the village and your efforts now as the mayor to take over, some big shoes that you're gonna have to fill. We all know that, and God bless you that you can do it. I'm supporting you 100%.
I would like to speak with you at some point this week, if you have time, or next week, on a couple matters that you've helped us out with in the past.
I'm available at your convenience. You just have to let me know if you need my email address. I'll give it to you, or my phone number. You got them? Just get a hold of me and tell me when you want me. I'd like to do it before the next town meeting, so if there's something that I got to address with them, I can also do it at the same time. This is important to me, of course, as I said, it's important to me as a resident of the community. This is a big deal for us in the Lake George community. And it is the future as far as I'm concerned. There are economic reasons why it's important also, as I'm sure you're well aware. So I'm not coming here just as some intruder on the affairs of the village.
Right.
It's important. Thank you very much for
Thank
letting me
you.
have this opportunity to speak. I appreciate it.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to bring to the attention of the board? I'm gonna put a time limit on this one of 3
It's only,
minutes.
3 minutes?
Yeah, 3 minutes.
That's right, and I have a little blurb here. So I'm Mary Lucier. I am from Muddy Trail Jerky, and I was the store manager for 15 years. That required to address many issues throughout that time. Many had some gray areas like attendance, while others were very black and white. For instance, discrimination, sexual harassment, inappropriate behavior, illegal conduct. There was 0 tolerance for this, and people were held accountable and not allowed to continue any type of inappropriate behavior. Being a jerk, a bigot, or a rude and disrespectful person is not illegal, unfortunately. However, if you're a manager in charge of like in a position with authority, that has multiple questions surrounding their behavior, that can turn illegal, and it can turn into a pretty ugly situation and cause a lot of issues for the village or the county of Lake George. I think that Lake George is a beautiful, beautiful area. I'd like to keep it that way. A fellow vendor emailed us, and I believe most of you got the email as well, about discrimination. She felt she was discriminated against to not be a member of the farmers market because they called out the market manager on sexual harassment issues experienced with her employees in July of 2022, calling 17-year-old girls sexy and hot. In our 8 years of being in business, I've never had this type of issue. We've never been rejected. We've never been denied from any market. We're usually a good, solid vendor. We help others. We work together. So I believe that we're being discriminated against because of something that the manager believed we did, that we did not do. I don't believe that it's right for any family to have to go through this. If they're a vendor, or even if they're the vacation, I think Lake George is a vacation destination for many, many people. And what if something like this
Time's up.
happened?
Your time is up.
Okay.
We've been dealing with this issue since
I know.
before I was sworn in. This is why we don't run farmers markets. This is why we put them out to bid. I'm sorry, but you have to take it up with the gentleman who won the bid, and the village board does not need to be involved in that decision.
Okay.
It's a vendor event. We host, but we don't run it. So we've been going back and forth with this event.
Okay,
3 people have said bad things about the manager or the vendor. 3 people have said good things.
okay.
It's childish and I'm tired of it.
And I agree. I have no
So,
interest in.
I'm sorry, next year, we're gonna do it different. It'll probably be an RFP or something. I've been talking with our
What's an
attorney,
RFP?
request for proposal.
Is that like a bid?
It's like a bid, but not limited to. a
I don't care who gets the bid.
Threshold,
I just want to be in the market.
understood, but, that's out of our control.
Well, it's my turn now. So, I'm Renee Lucier. My
You
wife
guys
is Mary.
already spoke.
No,
Come on,
we
guys.
got our names on the list. We get 3 to 5 minutes each.
3.
Okay, 3's perfect. I haven't slept decent since December. I have a big problem with a manager that's handing out applications at the last market of last year before the bids are out, 1. 2, the bids come out. And for some reason, we've got a minimum bid of $5,000, which is at least 5 times what we paid the first time. And it just seems funny that I always get outbid by $2,000 or more. And when I called the office to speak with Mayor Blaze, it just seems funny that I just called to speak with Mayor, but before I get home at night, the manager texts me, why'd you call the mayor? What do you need? Well, I didn't call him, I called the mayor. So somebody in the office is telling him. And I was just wondering if anybody looks at the applications, because there isn't a single application with the manager's name on it. And that seems kind of fishy to me. It seems like a red flag to me. And I just want the village and the county of Lake George, or the Warren counties, to think about what you're doing and make the right decision for the village and for the county. Because I'm not sure if this is a person we want to have representing. Our ultimate goal is to get into the market. We have thousands and thousands of customers. We have been here 5 years. I ran the market for the village, and now I'm being discriminated against for something that we didn't do. So that's all I got to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is why we don't run farmers markets.
Are we allowed to weigh in on this?
No, it's not on our agenda. We're moving on from this.
Can we schedule a special meeting at some point in the near future to discuss this?
Okay.
Do we want to do that now?
Nancy, no, we'll do it at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Nancy, would you like to present Nancy for the LGA? We got the materials for the LGA room at the visitor center today, and she's kind enough to pick out some time in her afternoon to go over the improvements they want to make.
Sure. What would be the best way for me to come up here?
Yeah,
Face the crowd. Not everybody has copy, but so we created just sort of a key as to which walls we're talking about, because it might be difficult to figure it out. But so basically what we want to do with our theme is there's a really nice room that talks about the past of Lake George, and we want to present the future of Lake George, and we all depend on Lake George for our future. So that's sort of the theme that we have here. We need to take care of Lake George. So we have this big, our lake, our future, a beautiful photograph of the lake, and who we are, the LGA. And this is meant to be educational and to get people to think about protecting the lake as they are visiting the lake. So we have a nice silhouette, everybody's familiar with that. And we have these facts about the lake that people may or may not know, especially if they're visitors.
Nancy, hold on one second.
There's no picture in the Zoom. I want to make sure that.
We gotta start video. Thanks.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
It's okay.
technical difficulty.
We're going to be using QR codes in different parts of the exhibit so that we can see what people are scanning, so what they're most interested in. We have this, I think this will probably be the most popular. It's a little QR code. It goes to our site, it'll tell you what the temperature of the lake water is at that very moment, decide whether you want to go swimming or not. We have a wall where we'll have a looping video. It's about a 5-minute video about protecting the lake, why we need to protect the lake, how we can protect the lake, big things, small things. We highlight some people in Lake George who have done great things to protect the lake, and then you can find out more about it with a QR code here.
Your audio with that also?
There is audio, yes. This is about the science of the Jefferson Project, which is the 10th year this year. And it talks about how the Jefferson Project has given us great data, which we then translate into solutions that have helped us with road salt and helped us with the invasive species issue, and is now working on the harmful algal blooms, which are our biggest threat coming from wastewater and storm. And then you can find out more. You can go to a Jefferson Project Live website here, and we have the quote from Thomas Jefferson, of course, who loved the lake and he saw it. And then finally, for families, particularly kids, we are promoting the floating classroom, which has been promoted there, but we've updated the promotion, giving you a way to make reservation and get on board the boat throughout July and August and learn about the lake.
So you are taking that other interactive or water display.
We are, it's not working at the moment, and we don't have funds to, I believe it might be going to the Historical Association. They seem to be interested in that. And we hope next year we can put into our budget that we could create some more interactive displays here, but right now it's just so much.
I've seen that same display at the Wild Center, and it's in a dark room that works much better.
And that's not a dark room.
So I assume this is a starting point,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
you will maybe add to it or enhance things.
I think that's absolutely the plan. We'll also see, which QR codes they're most interested in. That will inform us in where we might want to go bigger next year. So that will be helpful. So yeah. And then of course, anybody who's working here, if they have anything that can tell us that people ask about, we can certainly hear that as well.
So we have 2 monitors actually set up, or are they all just speaking?
It's one monitor,
Okay,
for this video that will be looping.
okay, with the lake,
It-
what the lake protectors.
Yes,
And how long is that?
it's about 5 minutes. You can, if you're interested in seeing it, if you go to the LGA site and go to our about page, it's on.
And the other ones are just audio and with the QR codes.
There's,
For your point.
that's just for your phone. You just scan with your phone.
Okay, and then you can listen through it on.
Well, you go to a website.
Okay.
That's smart. Yeah,
They should be throughout the visitor center, really, QR codes. Different things.
yeah, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, even I can do it.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
Okay, that's
That's
it.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can do that. So I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the LGA room. There's a second. A second. Second by Trustee Joe. All those in favor? Right. Those say nay. Nay, says aye. So let's get back to the meeting. Minutes of, we have 4 sets of minutes, of which 3 of us can approve 2 because we were here. So for the minutes for the regular meeting of March 20th and the special budget public hearing, March 27th, only Don, Joe, and myself were here for that. So make a motion to approve those minutes.
So
And a second. Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried.
and nice job, Julie. There was a lot going on in those meetings, and you did a good job.
Okay, so for the annual organizational meeting on April 3rd and the special meeting for police and fire officers on April 6th, everyone was in attendance, and I'll take a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second
All those in favor say aye.
it. All right.
Mayor votes aye. We have monthly reports from the sanitation department, superintendent of public works, planning and zoning, rec center, Caldwell Sewer District Fire Department, director of special events, and the teen center. Now, those are made available free of charge from the village staff. I'd like to open a public hearing. Yeah, open the public hearing for local law, chapter 174-11, snow removal and emergency conditions. We're not quite sure how this got removed from our books, but it's not morally correct to push your snow onto our streets when you're cleaning your driveway, but we made it illegal. So we're just adding it to our snow removal and emergency conditions. We'll leave that public hearing open through the duration of our meeting. And I have some resolutions put before the board of turf management, the rec center football field, existing soccer fields and little league fields. That's our company we contract with for fertilizer. We've been using them for quite a few years. They usually win bids. This one, they've been good. I think there's 2 applications per year per field. And then I'll move on to the next one, our MVP insurance renewal. Insurance, yes, did go up some, 11%, but everybody would get to keep their same policy and the same insurance that we had last year. So spring cleanup days, I believe Keith is going to give me some dates.
24th of this month until the 14th of May.
4/24 to 5/14.
That can be unbagged, right?
Well, that's right,
Yeah.
correct.
Anything after the 14th,
It'll go back to normal summertime.
right, disposable
Correct.
paper bag and
And-
plastic.
And branches bundled and so on.
Right.
These are the-
Any length on the branches?
This is that.
Pardon me?
Any length of branches, everyone on that?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's already in our code.
Okay.
It's 4 foot.
Okay. Next is to adopt the safety policies created by Kim Shutt and gone over with all the department heads. We'd like to adopt them as a policy. The Greene County Community Commercial Bank payment.
That is, to pay for our back truck,
to back
which we already have, you guys have already approved and everything, just letting you know it's now coming out and we're paying for it. Because it is a large amount of money.
Wastewater treatment plant capital project payments. Those are just payments that were paying the man. And the court parking lot lease, yearly, we've been involved in well, is it a lease? Yeah, 1-year lease agreement with Sean Quirk and Quirk Enterprise. We maintain and enforce the parking at the lot by just south of Mohegan Street, by the Pancake House. We get 30% and he gets 70%. It's been fair, been working out pretty good. Equitable to both of us, so I would move that we would authorize me to sign this year's agreement.
There is one resolution which I did not have time to get to you guys. It's basically just requesting permission to pay for the New York Rural Water Training out of our payroll versus the audit, because I did not get an invoice by Friday. So I got it today. We just want to pay it in the payroll versus the audit. And it was one you guys already priorly approved for them to go to.
So I guess I'll take a motion to approve these 8 resolutions.
May I make a comment on the MVP that we discussed earlier?
Sure.
Insurance. Primarily for the information of the new members of the board. The past newly elected officials were automatically offered the health insurance policy. Guess it was like 6 years ago, we changed it to
2019.
when I ran, I think 6 years ago, we changed it so that newly elected officials were not eligible for health insurance. Unfortunately, it appeared that way.
Well, they're eligible, just
They are
100%.
eligible.
No, okay, they're not eligible.
for this.
Yeah, no, but they have to pay for it. They weren't eligible to participate at the level that we are. We pay 25%. So that changed in the village handbook. So as it reads now, Mayor Perry is not eligible and you are not eligible.
No, that's debatable, John.
If you read it, it reads that it says newly elected officials are not eligible. Newly elected mayor or trustees are not eligible. But we can amend that very
Yeah.
easily. But what I'm suggesting is that the ship has sailed for this year because of the budget's already been done, but I think that next year that you two have gone through a lot of effort and joined the board at a difficult time in our history of change of leadership, and I admire your dedication. So I would say that you should be eligible to the same benefits that we are, which would be 25% contribution towards the health insurance. But that would be next year because the budget's already been approved this year and we talked to go backward.
And I'd also like to make mention that they ran for trustee, knowing full well that they weren't gonna, and they did it anyway, and they're putting the time in, and I think if we're gonna be fair, we should be fair to all. I agree with you, so we'll talk about that when we work on next year's budget, but we should probably work on that law.
Can we make a proposal? Can I make a motion to change the employee handbook at this point, and or do you want to do that at a later date?
We can do that, we can do that now. I'll second it.
How do you
How do you want to word it? You want
Yeah,
to?
I want to word it so it works. So change the employee handbook to say that
Reflect that elected officials will all
yes,
be
from this point
from
forward,
from this point forward, will all be
eligible.
eligible to have a contribution from the village of Lake George for the health insurance.
And would their contribution be 25?
I think we, yeah, well, is it in the handbook, 25%? Is not part of the handbook, is it?
Yeah, it's hard to read because there's rules about people before 1988.
Right.
Yeah,
There's several different.
There was seniority of like 5% and 10%, 15%. We're kind of cleaned up by now.
Yeah, I was,
Most of them, yes. We
Yeah.
still have a couple that are still eligible for before 1988.
Mhm.
That are still have insurance.
so I'll trust that you will put that in a.
Yeah.
Form that
what
makes
I would do
sense.
Is put it in a form of a resolution for the next meeting for you guys to look at and approve.
Yeah, we'll get the wording down between that now and then. Okay. So there's no point in
Right.
seconding that motion since you're gonna do a resolution next month.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need a motion for the approval of these 8 resolutions as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by trustee Filomeno. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Mayor votes aye. Okay, special event and facility use applications. You gonna take these one at a time, or you want to take them all at once?
I could take one at a time.
Okay, Docks on Beach Road, August 25th and 26th, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. The Antique Classic Boat Show. 49th. Their motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve that event.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Jose. All those in favor say aye. And take these next 3 in a row. Is that okay?
Yes, but I would like to, since we have the person that is running the event, Mr.
Vincent's on.
Vincent. is
Yes, how are
here,
you?
So it would be nice to hear from you why we should have these events in Shepherd Park.
Well, I do a lot of events in Village of Lake George to begin with, so we wanted to bring a different twist besides calling events a craft show. These events aren't to attract people from the outer skirts, they're to entertain people who are here for the weekend. Something a little bit different. They're a fun festival for families that come together. I mean, you know me by the park, so you come to my food truck there. And so we provide a very friendly atmosphere. We're very professional, so we want to add a twist to something a little bit different in the park. You know, there's a big correlation on craft shows and people going out and wanting to do something. So we're putting these shows together. There are great vendors. There are things for the kids to do. You know, I have 5 kids myself, so I kind of have a good handle on what kids like to do. So that's pretty much it. Good food, good vendors, music. And there were also, I'm not sure if the benefit for Kelly's Angels is on there that we're doing.
No, that one's not.
That's not on there.
That's already been approved.
That's on third, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're also doing that benefit for Kelly's Angels, which benefits children of who's lost a parent to a disease or cancer. We're thinking of making these donations to Ron McDonald House and ex-mayor Blaze's church for a food pantry. But we haven't gone that far because he's been away.
So in your application, it doesn't mention music, and it doesn't mention food either. It just mentions.
I'm not sure on the Shepherd Park application if there was a spot to put food and all.
No, there's no swimming pool.
But we try to have a very different food than any restaurants that are here. We're actually limiting the food to just a couple. We have a local Italian Ice that has a business in the village. We have them as a vendor. We have Donuts, a new business as a vendor. Ourselves, which we have a restaurant in the village now. We're also a vendor. And so we kind of limited, you know, we have no pizza, no tacos, no Mexican, nothing that would compete with any other local business. And we went to local businesses first and offer them a spot in all our shows, including all our markets. We want to stay within the local of the village as we can. I happen to be the guy that's also running the farmers market. A farmers market, we take applications. We received 186 applications for our farmers market via our website. And we take a tedious approach in approving different categories for that. We've been running it for a year, last year, which we won the bid, the fair bid. So all our vendors, we only limit a few, 1 to each category. We don't want to have 10 drink people, 10 of this, 10 of that. And it's a pretty intense business. We do this full time. We have an office staff of 4. We're moving our offices to the village, and I also just moved here as well.
Vincent.
Yes, sir.
Hi.
How are
It's
you?
funny,
Nice seeing you again.
nice seeing you again.
Yeah.
You know, I was speaking to a friend a couple weeks ago, and they brought it up. We have a lot of events on the weekends. I see Saturday and Sundays,
Yes.
which are great. Well, I'll take anyone that comes into the village. We always need these. Have you ever thought of hosting events during the leaner time, vis-a-vis the midweek or so, to
yeah.
raise that population?
Yeah, we switched one towards a week, which is a model car, and then we moved the Garlic Festival, which was already approved for the woods. We moved that into the later part of September. And then we have 2 other events. Well, the Kris Kringle is also in the later part of September, which we're trying to keep that as well. And a couple other ones in October, but not yet on the calendar yet. But yes, we are moving to make the whole mix.
Yeah, I would just love to see that 7-day week.
Yeah,
You know, for
yeah.
the weekends, as a visitor when I was younger, was a given for us. We'd come here on the weekend. but to really attract people in that midweek.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
I think would be great. Every business from the gas station to the hotels would absolutely appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. Thank you for your question.
So take a motion to approve the 3 events as described and explained.
May I make another comment?
Yeah.
In my mind, there's a lot of controversy swirling around between these events,
Yes, sir.
the farmer's market.
If you like, I could speak openly as well.
Well, they haven't been resolved, in my mind.
Okay,
Uh,
let me, if I may, Mayor Peck.
Hold on. Go ahead, John, finish your statement.
So until, myself personally, until we have that special meeting to discuss how we're going to resolve this ongoing controversy between the people in the market, the market manager, and how this intertwines with all these special events at Wood Park. I don't want to openly make any accusations at this point, but there are stories going by around on both sides, and I would like to try to come to some sort of determination before we move forward on these events. You already have 3 events approved at Wood Park, well, and 1 is now moved to Shepherd Park.
I moved that event as per the mayor's request,
Right.
so we allowed the tow truck company.
Right, I understand. So now you already have 3 events. This would be 6 events
That's correct.
plus the farmer's market.
That's correct.
So we are putting a lot of faith in your organization.
That is correct. I've been doing the market with Mayor Blaze for day 1 since it's been in its existence. I've been faced with a lot of opposition because when you put in power, in a certain sense, people are not knocking the farmer's market and their merits on why they're not approved. They're trying to take it on personally to me. So they have to create things, which I totally understand. I have 37 employees and I do this in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Arizona, California, and North Carolina, and now Lake George. We are a large organization. So we go through a list of criteria that we have to meet. So a particular vendor that has problems with me was a particular situation, which I do have a recording on my laptop here, which I have Mayor a copy of. They were upset that I was potentially taking an employee of theirs. This particular employee had a particular problem with the way they dressed. So I made a comment with my son and wife standing there, "You look sexy, now get to work." An open statement that a guy that works for me, Devin, which we no longer use, says it religiously. So I picked up that word, bad word to use. When that girl particularly went back to the person that was, they thought I was taking their employee, they were upset at me taking their employee and said, "Well, how do I look in my coat?" Says, well, you look funny. You look like the purple clown, the purple monkey there. What's this?
Barney.
Barney. He said, well, the person that had me wear it says I look sexy as hell. He can't say that to you. And that's how that started. And I'm so beside myself at that. And I put my foot in my mouth because of that. And I didn't say it in any other way. And I'm not a pompous person. I didn't say it any malicious way whatsoever at all. I have a good name. I have assets to lose. I have a business that I pour my life into. Why would I risk that for what? Now I'm under personal attack. I mean, you know me, you come to my truck in the summer, correct?
Stop by and talk.
You've eaten my
I've
food.
never had food, but
Yeah, so you know who I am, and I'm a very great natured person. When I say my wife runs the farmers market, and we have certain things that we have to meet. One of the few things that weren't being met. And other categories, so when we say no, there has to be a decision that we say no because of this. We can't stomp our feet and says, well, I can't be told no, and attack me personally. That's not a fair position that I'm put into. I'm at that situation. I've hired an attorney yesterday, which Mary knows about, and I'm suing for defamation and whatnot. And it's cost me $20,000 in legal defense to prove a point.
also there's been emails, and I've actually talked to some people on the phone about there being forced to participate in these other festivals, or they can't be in the farm.
No, that is not correct. That is not correct. No one's forced to do any events that they don't want to do at all. And anyone that has any anything wrong to say about me is because they were prompted or not allowed in the show, and they formed a little union. And that little union is to hurt me, so they think that they can get their way and stomp their feet. The other emails that you got was one woman in particular, that Mayor Blaze did not want her in the show whatsoever because she sold T-shirts and used products. So I said, no, I got the controversy.
Well, as I said, there's a lot of
Of
stories
course.
from both sides,
But
and at this point, I just not
No, I
comfortable
understand.
moving forward on more.
Another
events.
particular vendor has 9 different categories. So it's just like if I came to a food show and brought tacos, pizza, donuts, Italian food, Spanish food, Indian food, and Mediterranean cuisine, and I stood there with an a la carte of every food out there, what opportunity do other food vendors have? So I have to watch that. I sell products too at the farmers market. I have one category only. So that's the position that I'm put in.
I'm gonna interject here, John, we can have that meeting, a special meeting sometime next week. But there's information that I haven't been able to give you that you're unaware of, but I'm going to put forth a motion that we approve these 3 events in Shepherd Park. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
What's the special meeting?
I was gonna wait to schedule it once I find out your work schedule, so we can make it. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, opposed, say nay, sorry. Okay. Answer carried. Sure.
Hi, Vincent.
Yes.
You know, it's, I always say this, I gotta be able to sleep at night when I make a vote. I voted yay. For a reason here. What I voted on were 3 events: Midsummer, Sunset in the Park, Lake George Film Festival. The issues that have come up are with farmers market, which I'm not voting on today. To be honest, if that vote were to come up today, I'd have to go into a deep discussion, because what came up, and I use the term fair, I think it's a word, it could be skewed, but I think it'd be the responsible thing if we were voting on farmers market. I look forward to that special meeting to speak about it, because as John said, the responsibility for you holding these permits and doing these events.
Absolutely.
moving forward,
Sure.
it's big. We're all neighbors here. We all live here.
I live
And
here as
it's a lot
well.
of faith and trust this board is putting in, so it's not an easy vote. But again, I'm voting today on these 3 events. As far as the farmers market goes, that special meeting, it's very important, because we have to take into consideration both sides. And though it is a bid out contract, type 9 employee, I like to think in a town this size, we always differentiate between right and wrong. Okay, so you're getting an opportunity here, but please make sure you just keep this in mind. I voted on 3, and we do have a special meeting in regards to the farmers market.
Yes, please do. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank
And Wood
you.
Park, Lake George box off. There's only one date on here. We had 2 dates last year, and we sort of were a little unsure, I guess you'd say, of how that was gonna go. So we approved one date and waited to approve the second one based on how that event went off. Well, both events went off without a hitch. But I do see only one on here. I think one was canceled. So that would be
22nd and then Sunday, the 23rd.
no, it wasn't. It was another weekend.
Oh, 2 weekends?
Yeah, it was two separate weekends. That's why the box off.
It
Yeah.
was 2 weekends. I think one was canceled.
I think they eventually did cancel one,
Yeah.
but the one that did go off, there was no issue. We were a little concerned about violence, and it's professional boxing, so I'll take a motion to approve that event in Wood Park.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
One second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 I'm
Both say
gonna
nay.
vote- I'm gonna vote nay again for the same reason I voted nay last year.
And Canada Street, Lake George Oktoberfest. This is the weekend of Columbus Day that we close the street between Montcalm and
Amherst.
Amherst Street. Thank you. Based out there, almost went south. It's been an event for several years. Quite successful. People look forward to it. Really puts heads in beds. I'll take a motion to approve.
That just so you know, there was a memo in the front of that, which, said the mayor had given.
Yeah.
Former mayor had given a discount due to the time of the year and the parking fees at the time. And the question also is, so that we need an answer on is whether you guys want to keep the fees the same or pay full price or a different discount. So that also needs to be answered.
I apologize, I'm new here. What are the fees? for closing
Um,
the street now?
Let's see, they submitted their application for the Oktoberfest and paid the fee of $22.50. That fee reflects a discount from the $1,500 a day to $500 a day to close Canada Street and the $500 fee for the alcohol waiver.
Is there a fee as far as, I'm sorry, it's the term fee, so it's $22.50 or 22?
$2,250.
$22,000,
No, $2,250.
that's nice to have 22. You know, it's, and I apologize, I am new to this. So we received that money, the vendor, they're the vendor.
Yeah.
Correct, on there, and the streets closed 3 days. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Traditionally, we would be closing up, I think it's, Wednesday afternoon to Sunday at 6. Is traditionally what the duration of the, road closure.
To set up. there.
Is there any extra cost that we incur for doing this or any?
There's
Extra effort on
overtime,
your
there's
part.
overtime accrued to the village. I don't have that number in front of me right now, but
Is that something that we charge back?
That's why you charge the fees.
that's what the fees should be included as one whole, as one thing.
So besides the parking and the fees for your time and labor, is there a, I guess, a monetary permit fee? You know what I mean? Like, it's a substantial event where we're using village property to make money. Is there a fee, that John pays or if the
That's
group
the
pays?
fee.
That's the,
That's the fee, the road closure fee. No, we've given them a discount over the last few years. It's quite a successful event. I'm not so sure we need to continue the discount. I mean, he's gonna put the event on in a
Yeah.
way.
I
I don't
don't
remember him even asking for a discount, to be honest.
I think the first year might have, this was such a new thing. First couple of years, but, it's gotten a lot larger.
Yeah.
A lot bigger success.
Big
Our rates have gone up too.
Training this.
You know, our rates have gone up, you know, employee rates,
Mhm.
overtime rates, so
I agree.
we've ever compensated for, you know, those events or something like that, so.
Right.
I know he does donate, part of the proceeds to other funds and stuff like that, but you know, I still think though, it's, you know, we keep the regular fees and
Is that a motion?
that discount, yes, that's a motion I will make.
I'll second.
Okay. So, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Mayor votes aye. Motion's carried. I was approached by a lady that wanted to have us write a proclamation for a Charles Wood Day. Gentleman has had done a lot for the community. It's the reason we have Wood Park. It's the reason they had new floors in the Arts Project gallery, to name just a few. I mean, there's contributions to Lake George have been outstanding. Evidently, he never had a proclamation written about it for Charles R. Wood Day. So When we find out his birthday, and if the board is agreeable, I'm gonna write a proclamation for the next monthly meeting. And depending on when his birthday is, we're gonna try to designate that as Charles Wood Day in Lake George.
Would there be some event staged around that? or-
No, I think it's just a letter. We just really want a letter. It's part of his foundation. Some people in his foundation felt like they did a Mayor Blaze Day. Let's do it.
It doesn't cost a one, and it's not gonna be an annual thing, it'll be one time.
Well, it could be that, and naming that date annually. That's next.
But I'm saying,
Yeah.
I would have no reason not to. If it's something for the village, whether the village recognizes, Charles Wood Day.
Mhm.
and-
Yeah, I don't see why we couldn't do it
I
moving
mean,
forward.
he's done a lot for the future of Lake George and its history of Lake George, so.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't need a motion for that. We're all agreeable. Lake Avenue Keys, we got into, during COVID, Lake Avenue Park was abused. Quite badly, daily and badly. People kind of would have some parties down there and fires, and so we gated it off. And although we don't want to prevent people access to the water, we issued a key system where you sign up and you pay a fee and help clean up the area, and you get a key to use that park. Used to be a beach, it's not a beach anymore. It's part of an ice easement, is what they used to do. They used to keep their food cool. You had to get access to the water. There's several public ice easements that are around the lake, so people could go out and cut ice and refrigerate their food. So it goes back a long way. I don't know if we want to continue the key system. We have staff that can open the park in the morning and then close the park at dusk. And I think that would be fair and equitable for everyone, instead of the lottery of keys is limited to the same people every year. And it's a limited number of people, and I don't think that's fair. So,
Would it be better to set a time, because dusk is a moving target, so.
we could do 7, 8 o'clock. I mean,
Something.
dusk in June is different than dusk in September or August.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so dusk is, or, the time it opens, we can set, but yeah, I think a time frame would be better.
Okay.
Have the B.
Well, we can discuss it. We don't need to really take action on it, but I would like to figure it out.
Yeah.
Keith, what do you think about as far as, I know you didn't like the golf cart going all the way up there, but I think if they come
Yeah.
on the school, they're not gonna be on, they're just gonna cross.
It'd be like a cross type
Crosswalk.
thing and all that,
Yeah.
which they could utilize the crosswalk there. I would like to see maybe a little bit more parallel to when we close Shepherd Park Beach, which is 6 o'clock in the evening. I think that's a safer environment for our employees to go up there to close things down. There's still plenty of natural light and so on. And I think that if we're gonna go in that direction, to keep our guys safe and gals, that we should do it. I believe 6 is good time.
Okay, no, in the morning, I know some folks, especially if you wanna go on a kayak, you wanna go in the
We
morning.
have,
before
we
the day
have,
wakes up.
during the summer, as you know, our garbage crews in the morning are there by 6:30-ish, give or take. At Lake Avenue, picking up the garbage as well. There could be an opportunity to have it unlocked at that point. I think 6:30 AM is probably not a bad time to be out there. These are my thoughts on this topic. And kind of go from there. So and it's normal hours for our guys and all that kind of stuff. So no additional cost.
Set hours, something easy to remember, 6:30, 6:30, whatever.
We can make it a time.
6 to 6.
Put a little sign saying the hours at the gate.
Say 6 to 6 or something along those.
6 to 6, I think is fair.
Just 12 hours right there.
Do you want the keys returned? Because I have a key.
Yeah, I'd
There's a
return.
deposit in them, too. I think I get money back.
There might be, I don't know.
Well, we would be changing the lock anyway.
Changing the lock.
It'd be a DPW lock. People want it as a souvenir. We can say, I was here for this 2 years. But that would change regardless.
Okay, but so, what do we, I mean, this is, what are we calling this? this area.
They can have new park.
But yeah, okay.
Are we gonna be okay with people swimming over there?
No.
No,
That's why we call it
that's why it's park, it's not beach.
It's not-
Yeah,
If
it's,
it's open, it's gonna be open, anyone's gonna go down. I mean, granted, they climb over the
They
fence
can
also.
do all that, yeah, I'm not going there.
So,
yeah, we're just gonna have to see how it flies out and with this new, procedure we're gonna do and go from there.
You know how I feel about fences and beaches.
Yeah.
No.
Well, it's technically it's a waiting part
Mm-hmm.
for non-motorized watercraft.
Handboats.
Yes, correct. So,
I'm gonna look at it for years, see what it does to the,
We're gonna, yeah, it's an evolving creature.
like I said, I'm just afraid that it's gonna turn into more of like a watched area.
Well-
If
Well,
it's
you
not
know,
gated.
I think COVID changed things a lot with people. They just wanted to get out. Everybody was buying kayaks and going to, parks, and it just got a little out of hand. And I think now that we're back to normal.
well, and I think the outreach to the hotels that are immediately down there, they were using it as their personal beach for their hotel, people. Hopefully with a little conversation with them again this year early, to let them know this is what we're gonna do, and we need to really have them help us police it. So, internally.
Yeah.
So I think that would be the best start.
Is there any way to make this just a residents only park?
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah, when we did this whole key system, we were told it was, they had to do it that way. They didn't have to be residents. It's discrimination. It's discrimination. It's like why we can't give local parking passes, because it's discrimination as well.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, so is that a motion by anyone? Anyone want to put that in a motion? Yeah,
I said you need a motion for you. I'll put that in a motion.
okay. Basically everything we discussed. Mayor will second it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Mayor votes aye. Okay, now names and faces on the, Juneteenth, sorry about that. Got ahead of myself. Explain this to us, Julie.
Basically, because it's a federal holiday, it's gotta, if we say Juneteenth is June 19th, that's the day you take off.
Can't take it as a floater.
It's the same as any other of our federal holidays. So that's just kind of an FYI.
Closest Monday in the close.
It's the
Friday.
19th, it's
It
June
is the
19th.
19th. Like Veterans Day,
And
it's
what I
always
mean-
the 11th.
It's always the 19th, no matter what day it
It's
falls
always
on.
the first of the third month, the third Mondays.
It's the day the slaves were in
Yes.
Texas. So
Yeah.
So that's just
Yeah,
like-
I mean, I'm all for the holiday. It's just, it's tough in the summer. But- So how would that work out, Keith? If,
It would work-
Got to keep some men
It
on.
would work the same as if it was Labor Day. We have, certain personnel that work regardless, and they would get paid for the holiday, for the day they worked, and then they would get paid for the holiday. So they would get basically double pay, and it's our easiest way to keep the bookwork down, the bookkeeping as well, and keeping everybody in check that that is still equal, regardless if you worked or you didn't work.
Right.
So that's the format that we've used for quite a while, and Denise could probably expand on that too, if there's more questions upcoming. But that's generally what we've been doing, just pay the way, and it works out so far.
And they might want to work that day.
Well, that's just it, we have people that do want to do it.
I work that.
Yeah, okay. Sign
Okay,
up.
so we approved this holiday before.
Yes, it's already approved. It's just letting you guys know because
More action.
we had a question on how it would be taken and it has to be on the
Okay, so moving along. Next is names and faces on the mural. We have a painter. She's in college right now and she's done with her semester. We've considered adding some folks to the mural behind me. The key is over here. If you ever wanted to come by sometime in your own time and take a look and see who for historic figures. We have some we'd like to add because why not? I'll go through the list. And they're not all posthumous either. So We have William Dow, Bill Dow, who passed away last year, Margie Mannix, who a longtime historian, John Earl, recently retired trustee, Elaine Horn, from the around the world and around the US, Lou Tessier, Dennis Dickinson, Dorothy Frost, Don Corsetti. I went past Fran Kokoza. He has expressed that he doesn't want to be on. Don Corsetti, Robert Flack, Peg Earl, next to John and Wade, Jerry DeVoe, and Margie Mannix mentioned to me today, maybe we would put if in the back with an easel, Georgia O'Keeffe, for a representation of her. I thought that was a nice idea. So, but the list is not final. I don't want to do this again because we're, I've lived here 25 years. You've lived here 30.
30.
Joe.
30.
Okay. Two new members. The history is done with us. There will be historic people after we're gone, but I just think it's going to get too crowded. So I don't want to add. And if anyone in the audience has any suggestions, Doug, you might have somebody that we're completely missing, but.
No, good.
Okay.
I mentioned a few earlier today about McKinney.
Oh, Deb, yes, thank you. Yeah, and I wanted to add Deb McKinney to the list.
Put it
Right
right
here.
in. If they, she can join that little circle there, make a circle.
Next to Darlene and Kristen. So, yeah, but yeah, read up on the thing when you have some time. It's rewarding and they're very special people to Lake George. So I don't need any action on that. Oh, this is the fun one. We had trouble with a backup pump at Shepherd Park. It's not in service right now. It needed some work and an impeller to the tune of $38,000, $38,814. We had the money. We found the money in the budget, and we were able to make the repairs. Just going to need an approval to transfer the funds. So I'll take a motion on
Make
that.
that motion.
Second.
For the money.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Sounded like your resolute ayes. Okay, so I'll close the public hearing on the local law number 174. 174.
Let's skip ahead to 16.
Oh, we're skipping. Oh, I skipped there. What did I skip?
This is just the discussion about another possible.
Okay, so we'll wait on it. We won't close it. Sorry about that, everyone. I saw seeker and I was like, I got it. Okay, let's walk us through this one.
So basically, we're just looking at the first item number 11. We're looking to set the public hearing for May 15th, which is our next regular meeting. Have that a public and a regular meeting for chapter 220, the zoning law, which we discussed a little bit last meeting, which is the condominium and dwelling local law. So we're looking to just start with that, set that. Is that a
Schedule a public hearing.
Schedule a public hearing for May 15th.
That's all we're doing. At this
Just
point.
that's what we're doing now. It's just a condo overlay. We don't have condos in our use table. And we're trying to encourage first floor commercial of the main streets, second story and up, residential,
Just
in reconstructions.
I guess I didn't read it over in enough detail, but I have a question. That when a condo, that's owner occupied, could that be used as a short-term
It can.
rental? Okay, so these would be in short-term rental.
They're-
allowable use.
They're in the allowable use zones.
Right, for short-term.
So there's
rentals.
not changing anything there. Yeah, condos you own from the walls in. You don't own the building, you own from the walls in property.
They could elect to turn it into a short-term. rental.
They could. That's not our intent, but
And I'm not saying that would be a bad thing, just this week.
I mean, that's where you'd want them. I mean, if you're gonna have them, you'd want them in the commercial zones like we've established in the past, not in our neighborhoods in the back streets.
As I said to Mayor Perry earlier when we were talking, when I thought that it would not be a bad thing to have people invest in the downtown area, to spend some money on some of these areas that have been left vacant for too long. And it means short-term rentals and most people can support the businesses in the village. And there's some turnover there. I think it's a good thing.
It would be where they would belong.
Right.
I wouldn't want to go too big with this overlay district. That's why it stops at
Commercial.
Commercial Street and, commercial areas. If we'd lose all of our motel rooms, it's just like what happened in Capri Village. They tore everything down, put condos in, and now there's no more motel rooms. And it's half the amount of motel rooms.
It's all the way up to Bolton Road.
In my conversation that I had today, it sounds like short-term rentals can already be above these businesses now.
Oh, they can. They
Yeah,
can.
so this is not changing that. This is just like you guys are saying.
Just adding condos to our use table. So that's, that'll be set for next meeting.
Motion.
Take a motion.
So,
Second. A second. Allison, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Mayor votes aye.
This is basically.
For the, for this, we're gonna, make an application to the APA and with a negative declaration of seeker. And I'll take that motion.
I'll make that motion.
One second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. So third is, did I take two of those in once?
Yeah.
Yeah, the 12 and 13 went together. Sexual harassment policy time limit. Allison, you want this on the agenda?
Yeah.
I looked it up.
Mhm.
It's kind of interesting. There's different answers on the New York State website. Now, I wouldn't have a problem us going to mirror the New York State website or a website policy.
Mhm.
It was interesting how some of them, one group that you could complain to was a 300-day time limit,
Yes.
and one was 365 days.
Yes.
But it didn't appear that the claims would weigh any heavier or lighter or could be really enacted upon. It could just be noted. It didn't see where there would be ramifications for anybody. I don't know where this came from. We forgot to ask Brad where she got it from.
We did ask, and it was actually done by Dave Harrington originally. And again, they had a sexual harassment meeting, I believe, at the firehouse, and it was just like a policy that they had given to them to use. That's where that came from.
So, the 30 days, the 180 days, where did you see that?
So
You mentioned it.
that's an equal opportunity, like employment. They have 180 days to 300 days, depending on like what someone is stating has happened. And you have in here what was handed out, you guys are talking about, there's one that's 35 days, or maybe it's 45, that's for federal employees. So their recommendation for non-federal is 180 to 300. If you want, I can pull it up.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
How does the rest of the board feel? Have you thought about it, looked into it?
I would trust Allison's judgment on this. She does this a lot more than I do.
It seems like a long time for how to remember to describe an event. I mean, to me, it seems a bit long, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Is this something, even if we approve, that we should pass in front of council? Just make sure.
We can.
Sounds.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can bring it before Matt and see what his recommendation is. So I'm fine with that. Take no action yet, and then talk to our attorney, see what his thoughts are.
Sure.
Because he's a municipal attorney. We're not the only people he deals with. So.
This is an important topic, and I don't want someone to miss out on reporting. because of the gap. I really want Matt to say that federal, New York State is really up there.
30 is short. We can
30
agree
short,
that.
yeah. Like if someone was to get hurt, injured, they weren't able to report in time, they come in, it's 31 days.
That's the sexual harassment injury, not injury, right?
I think it's any kind of harassment. It's not just sexual.
The,
Well, we got
basically-
title is sexual harassment.
Well, there's, yeah, sexual harassment policy and then the harassment policy. Gotcha.
but you are correct. I mean, it should be for anything that is harassment or discrimination.
Yeah.
Longer reporting time.
Okay, so we're gonna work on that.
Table and put it for the
Table
next
it,
agenda.
yes. Support to oppose, that's sort of an oxymoron, passage of conservation subdivision design bill. I remember this came through 10 years ago. And it's, if you guys didn't read it or did read it, it's a very teethy conservation subdivision design bill. They really, my biggest problem is none of these people live here that are proposing this. Nobody lives in the Adirondacks that's proposing a subdivision restriction as restrictive as this. So I will make a motion that we support to oppose the passage of conservation subdivision design bill A04608. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by trustee Miller. All those in favor?
Based on
Say aye.
Mayor Perry's recommendation, I'll vote.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
There's a lot of information on it and it's confusing, but based off of like what I've read, the Adirondack Park Agency's large subdivision permit is more friendly to the environment than the conservation subdivision design bill.
What she said.
Okay, based on Alex. Forgive me if
Okay, now we'll do, close the public hearing.
Yeah.
On, local law 174-11 regarding snow removal and emergency conditions and declare a negative declaration of seeker. Do I have a motion in support of that?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Seconded by trustee Miller. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 17 is water changes, transfers and audits. I'll take both of those if you're willing. Second,
I'll second it.
seconded by trustee Joe. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Mayor votes aye. In the back, I didn't get to you before. I'm sorry. I
That's
do know
okay,
why you're
sorry.
here. Come on up. Come on up.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I just, I
That's
saw
okay,
you and
thank
then I
you.
got.
Thank you
a
for
little-
giving me. So my name is Yearbook in Jacob. I own. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Yearbook in Jacob. I own two restaurants, Discovery Brothers Cafe, located on 1 Kansas Street, and it's a little restaurant that located on 25 Kansas Street, which is right next door. And I want to start with 3 years ago, this board had a hearing online when COVID happened. And the board come up with decision to let businesses have tents outside. Because we can't really see people inside and you have to keep tables 6 feet away. So it really helped us, especially one restaurant that I opened in 2020, those were up here. So you saved me, so thank you for that. So since then, tents become part of the business. And we heavily invest in those tents. We bought our own tents because renting tents was very expensive. The rates were $700 a week. So we also bought a nice outdoor furniture with appliances and everything we need to serve people in the tent. And so we really rely on it nowadays. I also want to mention location that we technically we in the village where we kind of away from the village. So the main foot traffic goes from a beach road, as you know, and they turn right into Canada Street. So, and we have big parking lots in both businesses that I believe primarily owned by my landlords, and they
they don't mind me to put tents up, and I wanna mention that, it's, 130 feet away from the, sidewalk, each business. We spent 2 days to install each tent. We staking down each pole, with the full long stakes. We, secure each pole with, water barrels, which is 50 gallon or 100 gallon, I think each. We, plant flowers, plant plants, we, even paint the, pavement, so it doesn't look like customers see it on the, in the parking lot, so you don't see those yellow lines. That's that. So it's very nice, good looking fence. Now, I still have customers, mostly in summertime, that still concerned about COVID. And I don't know which wave is that, it's 10s and 12, but the people still getting sick with COVID. And they asking for their privacy when they come to the business. They like, we would like to see it outside, you know, away from the crowd, which is almost impossible in summertime, you know. So with the tent, I can provide that privacy and room for those customers that are concerned about COVID. They're still wearing masks, you know, all this kind of stuff. Plus, I didn't know that the I cannot have tents this year, so I kind of planned my summer. My year, I already hired local police that are going to be on the school sometime. Day one says, you know, they're coming over the seas. So without that extra seating, I have to lay off some people for some. Plus, I have some events planned for this summer, weddings that they're gonna come to Lake George Village after the wedding for the brunch. I have 2 events. So that's, you know, a few hundred people coming to village, you know, explore the village and spend money. So really, I'm asking the board to let me have the tents every year, if that's possible. If that's not possible, I'm asking you to just let me have it for this year temporarily. So in next year, future, me and my landlords, we can come out with permanent decision that you guys approve.
Okay.
That's it.
Um,
That's all I can say.
if I let you, or we as a village board let you have a tent, there's several other businesses that are gonna want a tent. And then we're back to all the tents. It's not fair. The COVID restrictions have ended, and so have the tents.
Mhm.
And correct me if I'm wrong, guys, our current policy is you can have 2 tent permits per year for 1 week each. And that's how it's been before COVID. That's how it's always been. And I just, it's not fair. If I let you have the tents, I had suggested that you get large umbrellas and move forward with that for shade or.
So I can have tables on that.
You can have tables outside.
Outdoor cafe.
Outdoor
Then it's an
cafe
outdoor
type thing,
cafe.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys won't mind if I have it?
I don't,
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't think we have any restrictions for you seating people outdoors on your own property.
All right, okay, that's fair. I do want to mention location that like, we're far away from like the main foot traffic, and we have space for it. Like not many businesses even have parking lots. That's why you can, wait and then have a fence. I understand that.
Yeah.
That's
No, it's
why
it
that's
had
my
a
argument.
Out of fairness, but you can see people outside.
I just want to real quick, don't forget, you have to make sure you have your site or cafe permit done, sidewalk or cafe permit.
Yeah, there's a cafe.
And definitely make
there's
sure you
sidewalk
list it on your
cafe.
Department of Health application.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, that's different.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Doug, do you have anything?
Yeah, I do. Congratulations to the new elected officials. I guess my question to the board is, and it's actually for, Mayor Perry and Joe and John. What is the savings that we are seeing this year in the budget for, since we had this discussion all winter long, and you said that you were going to save the taxpayers 35%. What is it that actually came out of this new budget?
20% in savings, because we couldn't establish a sewer rate. The sewer rate, if you guys don't mind me explaining,
Go ahead.
if we establish a sewer rate, it got a little questionable with our how to charge tenants and who was commercial and who
But
was.
that was changing the system. I mean,
Can I finish?
but the sewer has always been charged in our taxes.
Right.
It has never been separated from our taxes. I know that you guys were discussing taking the sewer out of the general taxes and finding a new way to charge us for that based on units, based on, flow in and out. But that's not, that has no real bearing on what it is, the savings that you three promised the village residents of Lake George that we were going to save on our taxes if we let the village handle this whole process. So I'd like to know, how come we're now looking at 20% instead of 35%?
Because we couldn't establish a sewer rate. Once I establish a sewer rate or a sewer fund, we can offset the cost of the sewer costs with OCTAX. Cannot currently do that in a general fund. You cannot use OCTAX in a general fund. You can use it in the sewer fund, you can use it in the waterfront, because it wouldn't have built the plant that big if we didn't have 60,000 people coming for a weekend.
Did nobody look at this before you promised the people that they would save 35%?
We were told that would. I was not a part of that committee, but we were told, we had municipal associates said that they could get a rate down. The mayor, the prior mayor said he kept finding errors in it. Our own accounts
It just seems a little disingenuous that, now that the vote is done, now that you guys have gotten,
I'm not
the village residents to vote against dissolution, that now you're not providing the village residents with what you promised us. And it seems a little disingenuous that now you're saying to us, we have reasons why we can't do this. You have funds, you have capital reserves, you were supposed to use those monies to help offset the taxes. It had nothing to do with sewer. And that was never discussed in any single meeting that was done on dissolution. Never once was us saving 35% tied to sewer. And again, you guys were looking to take sewer out of the taxes and out of the general taxes and charge us through a different means, which again, sure, that looks great, but that's not us saving money. If you're charging me differently, that's just redistributing those tax dollars in a different way. So again, I think it's kind of disingenuous that you're sitting here now looking at, I guess, not a lot of village residents, but honestly, it's kind of sad that you guys sat there meeting after meeting after meeting and said you were going to save the taxpayers 35%, and yet now you're saying you're only going to get 20%.
get you the other 15 next year.
You're going to get us another
I'm
15.
gonna try to establish a sewer rate mid-year, since we have our sewer budgeted. And then we could coast through the end of the year and establish a sewer rate mid-budget. Because I can utilize OCTAX. Now, I'm trying to explain this to you, Doug, in a way that you'll understand. We can offset the cost of the sewer, which is not just a shuffling around $5 here.
The
Let me finish.
The operation and maintenance? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
The O&M.
The O&M of the
Okay.
wastewater treatment plant, once we establish a sewer fund, can be contributed with OCTAX. We have roughly $300,000 in OCTAX we have to spend by the end of the year.
Okay, but are you still looking to like change the way that you charge people for septic? Are you looking to change it to units and water in, water out?
It's likely to be a flat rate with any time you go over the allotted gallonage.
Okay, because that's a little scary for a restaurant, or that's a little scary for a hotel motel.
That's why we're
And
trying to
I
make it
understand that,
fair.
I mean, as it sits now, it's based on my assessed evaluation, which is a definable way to say to me, I have to pay X, Y, Z based on my assessed evaluation. When you say now all of a sudden I have to pay on units, or I have to pay on water in, water out, if I'm a restaurant, now all of a sudden I'm taking on an enormous burden of sewer rates. Or if I'm a restaurant, I take on those burdens. And so again, gentlemen, you know what? I've known you all forever. I'm a village resident, been a village resident my whole life. And I was not pro or con about dissolution. What I wanted people to do was have an opportunity to get information to make a decision, an informed decision as to what was in their best interest.
The way you went about it, you kind of put a gun to everyone's head.
And how did I do that? Because you guys chose not to do it?
No, we actually chose a disciplinary action and we hadn't gotten back to it. You jumped the gun.
I didn't jump any gun. You guys had the opportunity to put it out to a vote and to get somebody to do the study, and you didn't do it, Ray. You can blame me all you want, but to say that I'm the reason why you're not giving the people the taxes they deserve now because you got put under the gun, you had months and months and months to come up with your little plan that said you would save us 35%, and you're not. And so that's pretty sad of you three to sit there and say, these are the reasons why we're not giving you what we promised you. Because that means that you didn't do your homework in the sense that you didn't know what you were gonna save us. All you were doing was throwing out a number to manipulate people instead of being honest with them and saying, we're not sure. And again, all I wanted to do was allow people to see the information and make an informed decision. That's all. I didn't care whether they voted it down or voted it up. I wanted the people to decide. But you guys were not honest, and that's not okay.
I don't think it was more than us three.
Oh, it was two other board members, but all three of you stood there and sat there when the mayor was making his statements. Not one of you ever said, maybe we should think about that. Not one of you ever said, maybe we should study that a little bit further. You guys were all sat there and said, Mayor, God bless you, run with this 35%, because that is the only way we're gonna stop people from dissolving the village. And I just think that it's kind of sad that you guys are now telling me I'm only gonna save 20%. And then you're saying that you're gonna give me another 15% next year. I hope you do. And I hope you do it for the taxpayers as a whole. Me personally, honestly, I'm not gonna live or die, but there are senior citizens out there, there's people on fixed income, there's younger families that honestly need this. And for me, it's not gonna kill me one way or the other, but these people need a break. And honestly, I think it's, I want you guys to move forward in a positive way. I don't want this to be the same old board that sat here for the last however many years. I think you guys have an opportunity to do things new and improve. I just hope you're honest about it, because the numbers that I saw, Ray, are 17%. If the numbers that were put out there to the newspaper by the mayor are what the actual numbers are, it's 17%. It's not 20%. So again, that's half of what you guys promised the taxpayer. And you know what? And that's sad.
I think because I understand your frustration and being a resident at that time, seeing that it is frustrating. I think a huge thing reading like why it didn't happen is because the wastewater treatment plant has become more expensive. And so I can vouch for like the current village board and the current mayor that he is looking at ways to help kind of decrease that. And so it stinks that seeing that and thinking you're getting that 35% and being promised it, I can understand, like that is frustrating.
And Lisa, with all due respect,
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but they should have known this. They should have known what they could have done and couldn't have done. You don't make promises to people that you can't keep. You don't promise your constituents you can do something in the middle of an informational situation where you're trying to provide people with information to make an informed decision, and you gave them information that was not okay. And that is not okay. And I hope you guys, when you move forward, will be honest and forthright, and you will be upfront with the people so they understand what they're getting or not getting. That's all I care about, is that there's some integrity and that people are honest with the residents that live here, because they deserve to have an honest answer to their questions. They deserve honesty from their elected officials. And that's all I'm saying. Just be honest with the people. It's just, to me, it's a sad situation that we now get half of what you promised us. And I think, and regardless of what the reasoning is, either you didn't do enough homework when you said you were going to save us 35%, or you just chose to lie to us and say, we're going to give you 35%, knowing that you couldn't give us 35%. And that, to me, I don't know what it is, but I hope you guys from now on move forward in a positive way and are forthright and honest with the people, because they deserve that. They deserve it from all of you guys. Angie, man. You know?
Doug, and I do believe, and I know I probably interjected a couple times, and there was never, there was an up to 32%.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't
It was
like
an
that
up to.
views.
It's
Up to, no one lied to you, Doug.
Yeah. So now you're saying the mayor was saying up to, so anywhere from 0 to up to 30, is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, that you understood? And that was what was shown to the people, that concept that you possibly could say from 0 to 35%? Come on, that is so disingenuous. That's sad. That is beyond, Joe. That's beyond okay. Because you know what? It's one thing to say that we couldn't meet what we really wanted to meet, and for whatever reasons, for what Ray's saying, I can live with that. I can't live with you sitting here saying to me that you actually were saying to the people, you might not have saved anything, or you might have saved up to 35%. That is not okay. That is a lie.
Well,
And that was not presented to the people in that way in any single meeting, and I was at them all.
and every time that the 35% came up, we said up to 32% is what we'd be able to say, because we didn't know all the variables.
Joe.
We didn't know.
Joe, that is a lie. That's a lie, Joe. That's a
It's
lie.
not a lie.
That is a blatant lie. You basically said to the people, we can say, you might have not said it, but the mayor said it.
And the
We
mayor
can
said it
save
several times.
35%. We can save you this 35%. I know I'm done.
Former mayor,
I'm done. What?
former mayor, should say.
Former mayor. Man, no, Ray, I respect you as the mayor.
No,
But again, that was what was presented, Joe. Do not make it sound like it was presented that we would say somewhere between 0 and 35%. That was not the message that was sent at all. And if you thought that that was the message, Joe, then you should have stood up and said it, because nobody in that audience believed that was the message. The message was the town is going to save you 35%. We can do it without dissolving the village. We can save everything. We can do everything the way that we've done it in the past, and we can save you this 35%. You don't have to take a chance to dissolve, not knowing what's going to happen to you, and save this 33%, because we can do this for you. It was never, we possibly can do it for you, and it's somewhere between 1 and 33% or 32%. Joe, that is not what was said. That is not what was said, Joe, period. That is not okay for you to even insinuate that that was being said to the people, because it was not at any point. It was, you were going to save us 35%. And again, if you couldn't, that's fine. But I hope in the future, Joe, that you will be forthright and honest and not sit here and try to defend something like that in that manner. Ray, I can respect the fact that you're defending it because of the sewer situation. You tried to say to me that I didn't listen to what I heard, and you're trying to convince me that it was a 1 to 32%, Joe. That is insulting to every single resident in this community. That's insulting. And same with you, John, that's insulting to insinuate that's what you were telling people at those meetings. That is not what you said.
Try to look it up.
Now, you can look it up all you want, Joe, but that is not what was said. And that was not what was said to the people. And that's not what the people believed. And that's the point. You misled the people if that's what you guys were thinking. You were not honest with them about that.
Yeah. Well, we were also given this information by the budget officer, the current, or the past budget officer.
You mean the mayor?
Yeah.
And again, with all due respect, you know what? I'm not going to say anything bad about the mayor. I just feel like it's
I'm
kind of not okay that it was promised to us that we would see those savings, and we're not seeing that. And I hope.
I don't feel good about it.
I appreciate that, Ray. I appreciate that, because I don't appreciate you, Joe, telling me that it was anywhere between 1% and 35%, because that's disingenuous, and that's not the way it was presented to the people, and that is not okay. And John, even if you find some little tidbit in there, that was never how it was presented to the people, John, and you know that. You or the mayor presented it to the people that this is what we're going to save you, not up to 35%. That was not it. And so that's sad that you two would even go down that road. That's sad. That's it for me. But I'll be back, because somebody's going to hold the board accountable for their decisions and their actions. You're not going to sit here and continue to go down that same road that you went down for the last 20 years. It's not going to happen. Somebody's going to hold people accountable for being honest to the people. Somebody will.
It's you, Doug.
Well, you better, John, you better. I don't think you want it to be me, John. I don't think you want it to be me, bud, because I will hold you accountable. And to the point where you're going to have to be honest.
Honesty's not a problem.
Well, integrity and honesty do seem to be accountable right now for you, bud.
So this is where we go around the table and see if any trustee has any issues, or Keith, do you have anything you wanted to bring to the attention of the board?
I just, with the Charles Wood Day, I think it was, I think we ought to try to include the county with whatever plans that we decide to do with that.
Okay.
Maybe the new county administrator, reach out to him. John, I think his first name is. I only met him.
I'd like, maybe, I was even considering we could discuss it further, but a plaque on the bathrooms at the building there.
Oh, yeah,
Wood
yeah,
Park.
there's plenty of
Nice,
spots for.
dedicating a little bit of history.
Yeah, I just
for
thought
people.
it'd be nice because they're, partners with us in that as well. So that was the only thing I really
That's a good
had
idea.
at this point.
Nope, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Trustee Root.
Just the special meeting to discuss.
Oh, yeah,
the,
let's set a date. What's your work schedule like?
Uh,
Everybody else, and Joe, you sort of good. We got a schedule around you too.
Well, it's Mondays or afternoons.
Are you good Mondays, or are you working Mondays?
until the middle of May. I work on Mondays. So it would be, I could do like a Tuesday afternoon or a Thursday afternoon, or
If it's I could do any day of the week if it's after 5:15.
Um,
I could do it after 5:15 also. What time, you work all day Mondays, in the morning?
So currently I work Mondays 8 to 7. They're changing my schedule mid-May to be 8 to 3 to accommodate for these meetings and for other meetings in the future. But I'm available currently.
running here from Sarah.
Yes, yes.
Go up in scrubs.
I'm available currently Tuesday right now all day, Thursday all day, and Friday
I
all
could,
day.
I could flex around like Friday morning. Yeah, I'm doing something, so a little later in the morning, for that first thing.
I don't mind early morning. It's Friday, I'm up here at 8:30.
What time do you have to be?
Work at 8:30.
I mean, it's gonna be a conversation, so it's gonna be, we need to carve an hour out.
It may be executive session. I don't know if it qualifies for that, but maybe it should be. I don't know.
It could, I don't know that it's, yeah, I mean, it's. We could, if someone shows up, we'll call an executive session,
Okay.
so that we could talk in private, so. I don't know that the papers would show up for a special meeting, but, where are we on scheduling? We haven't gotten anywhere yet.
Right.
Can I just stress something to John that he asked before?
Sure.
So when you said you've spoken to a few vendors stating that they were forced to do other shows,
I spoke to one and I saw it in the emails.
okay, well, I texted the salesperson who's handling that show for my company. So it's not you have to do the shows, but whoever is participating in the farmer's market was preferential treatment to getting the other shows as well. So if you participated in the farmer's market, you had first rights to get the shows. And especially with also the event that the ex-mayor had me do for Kelly's Angels, he said, your people get first pick, then it's open to the others. So I was only following suit in that. So anyone could do, I'll take money from anybody that wants to do the show. But if you're one of my vendors or village vendor, et cetera, and you're doing the main event, you can have all the rest. If someone just wants to come in and do one main event, and the lady who's been doing my farmer's market continuously every Wednesday wants to do the garlic festival, and I tell them, sorry, you don't have room because someone from Connecticut came in and took your spot, then now I'd be here saying I'm a bad guy again. So I'm just trying to fight, I've been getting under a lot of attack, and boy, this farmer's market business is a big business. And, I'm under scrutiny because people are just crazy this year from COVID. Everyone's out selling stuff. So I understand how people can misconstrue things, but my company doesn't force anybody to do anything that they want to do as far as vendors. And we don't have an issue because everyone wants to get outside to do events, right? I have to turn people away, hence people going bananas. So, I just want to address that too,
Okay.
because I don't hold a gun to anyone's head. You're very welcome. And then, am I coming to that meeting pertaining to the month? No, okay. Okay. But any information you need, let me know. You can call my office, speak to any of the girls that work for the company at any time you want.
Okay.
Any books that you want to see and a list of all our vendors as well.
Thank
You're very welcome. It's nice seeing you again.
See you Friday.
Yes. No, wait, Thursday's the meeting, right?
Friday's at the lake.
Oh, yeah, no, I go in front of zoning on Thursday. Or Wednesday.
Right?
Yeah. We got
What time, what day?
day and time.
All day Tuesday, all day Thursday, all day Friday.
Hey, we're just getting ready to, I just saw your text.
Exactly.
You want to state or anything?
What's that?
You have a topic?
I got-
We haven't tried yet.
Any day after.
Yeah, they did, yes, correct. Yeah, okay, all right, I just saw
We
your
got three,
text. I haven't-
four of us that could be there Friday.
Friday.
Could you put
8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or?
No, no,
Because I have to go to work at 2 o'clock, at 8:30. I have to leave for
You
work.
want to do 7:30?
Yeah.
yeah, that was part of it.
7:30, which day?
Yeah.
Friday.
It is.
Friday, which Friday?
Yeah, that's
Friday,
gotta be. the-
Well, what do you guys think? This Friday or next Friday?
By far.
Sooner the better.
Jose said the season already
No,
started.
that's.
2 weeks ago.
Well, anyway, Yeah, but that is, you're correct.
Okay, this Friday.
And it's.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
would be the,
yeah, okay,
resolution
all right, again,
would be,
I apologize, but I usually shut my.
Position
Right
and oversight, I think was mentioned. in
Yeah,
that,
the mayor talked to the mayor earlier, she said you guys are doing good.
Supposed to be on the agenda.
So that's a nice.
Yeah, and like I said on the phone, I kind of wanted to wait till.
Yeah,
got back
correct,
to have him weigh in because we had two office
Yeah,
staff.
good. All right, yeah, so I'll just.
I'm already
we're gonna
doing
be done
this,
here in
yeah.
just a minute, so, if there's
I
anything
gotta
else,
pay
you know,
somebody else
follow up with me
to
tomorrow.
follow him around when all he does is make phone calls. So
Yeah,
it's,
all right,
it's
sounds
sort of a, like, we have to talk
Well, that's part of the discussion.
in a larger group of it, yeah.
Instead of us individual,
Mhm.
more of a group thing than an individual.
Okay, trustee Joe, anything? Trustee Miller, do you have anything to add?
I just think, hearing Doug out, I feel like maybe we should try and give a little bit more transparency of the things that we are doing behind the scenes with our budget, so that it is more, I don't want to say the word understandable, but so that people can see that we are working to try and help with their like tax dollars. 'Cause
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah.
We have a budget hearing. This is more attendance than we had at our budget hearing. It's
You gotta see
unfortunate,
us.
you know, we really appreciate you guys coming again.
Every month.
But it's hard to make people pay attention to what's going on. It's easy for people to come to a meeting and why wasn't I made aware? Well, you weren't aware because you didn't come to the budget hearing. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate, but people have lives and schedules and, you know, they're not us. So if it is, and, you know, we can issue a letter or a statement to the press release in regards to that. But like, you can always lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Sure, maybe it's just we need to like figure out a way in order to get the information to village residents so that it's more convenient for them. I know we were thinking along the lines of maybe like email. I feel like like lots of people look at their email, like maybe we could look into emailing information to village residents and having an email chain.
I think of our website. I have a meeting tomorrow with Mannix Marketing about kind of bringing our website up into the 21st
Yeah.
century and some links to their website and vice versa for both the making people aware that they should download the parking app before they get here because, you know, the Wi-Fi is not necessarily robust or the cell towers are not necessarily robust when you get a larger number of people around. And then just notifications of fireworks. I think they're gonna have some ideas. We've worked with them in the past and she had a lot of good ideas. I mean,
Yeah, it sounds like a good
so that's one phase of it. Our Facebook page is another one. I don't think we've updated enough. And I would challenge one of the more trustees.
And, you know, and I feel, you know, Doug, I totally understand where he's coming from. Unfortunately, there is no discussion because it is usually one-sided. But, you know, we were work what we could with the budget to get to where as high as we could.
Well, if I remember right, I think as we were getting the plant back up and running and things are getting, you know, put in place, with the new equipment and all that kind of stuff. And I recall as the process, was coming along, we were having a problem with that. And we were able to keep, process as much sludge, or septage. We lost a lot of revenue up to, I think, 250,000 from last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Just for that reason that we're having the problem with the plant itself, and that's why we have some other things that have to, you know, come about in the future here. But I think that was, you know, that's a big piece of chunk of money right there by itself, and that was part of the equation that you were trying to discuss with your Doug. And not to, you know, put more, you know, fire to the flame to the fire here, but I know there was a lot of issues that circled around the new sewer plant,
Yeah.
Yeah, we,
monetarily wise.
Yeah.
and I'm not saying anything bad about the prior administration, but we were told this is how we're gonna do it. this is how we're gonna save this money. You got it there?
As much
Well, it's, yeah.
I think everyone.
Hey, we heard it different too.
I heard
I'm
it
not
straight
gonna-
up
these things
35.
Came from
Yeah.
parking meters and had nothing to do with the switch.
We, if we were to take more
Came
than,
out
I did
later
take,
in a
we did
letter.
take some more
Yeah.
meters. But if we took more than what we've taken, we broke in 3 years. So it needs to replenish itself in a way that, and we took as much as we could. Because when it got down to it, I'm like, he's like, why don't we just do, 300,000? I'm like, wow, we gotta do as much. We gotta get as close to this number as we can. I feel bad that we're not making the numbers, but you said we would, we can't, so.
And from my understanding, it feels like everyone's being honest, and it's just, I think we need to figure out a way so that everyone understands better. Like, the more information I feel like village residents have, the less outbursts that you'll have, anger you'll have,
It'll still be there, but you'll see as the next year when the budget comes around.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's costs and there's changes from the prior
Increases.
year, so.
Oh, yeah, because I
That
think,
they just were not in the numbers.
right,
you know.
and I think with the wastewater treatment plant, like the electricity went from like $3,000 to $11,000
It's ridiculous.
a month. So I mean, there's
Yeah,
things like that,
instantly,
that I
instantly,
think
yeah.
if people saw and understood and said like, we are trying, but.
But we
these
still
are
were
out
able
of
to
our
reduce their
hands.
taxes.
Still able to predict.
Yeah, and that is an amazing
You know,
thing, and so
and
a
it's-
way to show that, like that there was that increase in money, but like we're still reducing taxes. We're working.
Yeah, we're doing our best, and I
Yeah.
can, and I'm not done, like
Yeah.
I said, I'm still gonna work my butt off to figure out a way to establish this sewer rate. John Root's gonna help me.
All the five.
I'm gonna be warming up for 10 years.
You guys mind if I,
I'm all talked out, so, take a motion to adjourn. So ordered.